And now back to The Morning Show.
And we're back. It's 9:01 on this June the 30th. I'm Marcia Meekumber, your host here for another hour. And we have our first guest with us this morning. Very excited to have on the show Jeannie Perales. She is the executive director of the Sonoma Botanical Garden. For those of you who may still be locked in a different time zone, that was formerly Quarry Hill Botanical Garden. Rechristened the Sonoma Botanical Garden and refreshed and all those good things. And they have this really amazing experience right now that I hope everybody gets to see. It's actually going to last through, I think, October. But Jeannie is just back from seeing a whole slew of botanical gardens across the country. Meeting up with other executive directors of botanical gardens across the country. And she's been working at a number of different programs, starting with the Denver Art Museum, where she worked with a lot of educators there as well before coming here, among other things. Jeannie, welcome to the morning show. Thank you for being here this morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you with us. So there's a lot going on right now at the Sonoma Botanical Gardens. I suppose for folks who haven't been there before, we should tell them it's in Glen Ellen. It's just north a bit of where Arnold rejoins up again with 12, if that helps you find it, on the east side of the road with a big sign that everybody can spot. You guys are open 10 to 5 every day during the summer. I'm not sure if you can have the same winter hours because we have less sunlight in our winter hours, but it's equally pretty. The current program out there, the real big special one is Winged Wonders, created by the Mythmasters. And I know you're going to tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about the exhibit, how it came about, and what folks can see.
Great, yeah. So Winged Wonders is on display through October 31st. And what it is it was a commission. Actually, the largest commission these artists have ever had.
Wow.
Donna, Dodson, and Andy Moerlein are the myth makers. And they are a husband and wife team. They're both artists, sculptors, but together they make these incredible, monumental bamboo birds. And so what we did is we commissioned them to make a dozen California native birds that we could pepper throughout the garden so people could do a sort of Easter egg hunt where they're looking for the birds. We call it Finding the Flock.
Finding the Flock, yeah.
Yeah, and so they made these amazing birds. Some of them are large enough to get inside of, so you can interact with them in a really kind of physical way. And then some of them are sort of off in the distance or perched, in a spot that you can't get to, but that you can certainly see from 360 degrees. So we ended up with a baker's dozen of birds, so that's 13, because when they were here installing the owl family, it's a great horned owl family, they had a dream, both of them separately, the same night had a dream about a third owlet. And so they said to me in the morning, I think we need to make another one. And I said, I think that sounds like a very Northern California way to make a decision, so let's do it. So that's how we ended up with a third owlet. But the birds are fabulous. When you come to the Welcome Center, you're greeted by the bluebird, the Western Bluebird, and that's the bluebird of happiness. And we think that's a great greeter. So just this beautiful, happy bluebird, welcomes you when you arrive to check in at the Welcome Center. And then as you walk along the California Trail, there's a pair of quail that are about, 17 feet tall, and they're just spectacular. And they form this wonderful threshold over the California Trail, and that's how you enter. And they're large enough to get in and out of, so they're really fun. And then as you walk up the trail, there's a western meadowlark, There's an acorn woodpecker that's soaring through the California oaks. There's the great horned owl family. And then as you enter into the Asian garden, there's a blue heron and a pair of cedar waxwings and a beautiful little Anna's hummingbird. So they're just wonderful, and people are really enjoying them.
I particularly enjoyed seeing so many different sculpture throughout the property. It's been years since I was up there, and I went up yesterday with a friend, and I have to say, having seen it without sculpture and now with sculpture, I really enjoyed the addition, and particularly since they're birds.
Yeah.
It's insane, and they're made out of natural material that has grown, in the ground, been harvested, and then converted into art. So it
Yeah.
seems like a full circle that they've gone. They're just amazing creations that are there. I particularly liked the great heron that was down in the large pond. Its scale is just unbelievable. It's so huge. We kept looking and going, how did they get it out there? And we're like, okay, good waiters
Yes.
out of the pond. And of course, I had the sense that as soon as they retreated with the waiters in the installation, that all the lily pads then, as they do, just swarmed back in and filled that space back in again. So it looks like nobody's been there except the
Oh, I
creatures.
know. And they're blooming right now. The lilies are blooming and
Yep.
they are gorgeous. Yeah, the garden it's really beautiful right now. The whole dense green canopy is really filled in for the summer, and it's cool and breezy in there. And in the Asian garden in particular, it's just a really nice time to visit that
Yeah.
part of the garden. Well, the whole garden, but that
Right.
that area is very um, it's
Serene.
sort of seductive in the summer
Yeah.
because it's so green and shady and cool.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention, the material that the myth makers use is special. It's bamboo. And our garden in 2021, as you mentioned, we went through a name change from Quarry Hill to Sonoma Botanical Garden. And in doing so, expanded our mission to include California native plants um, and their habitats. And I think that this kind of changed our tagline. We became a woodland experience where East meets West. And so the bamboo material is kind of the perfect embodiment of that, and especially using it to create California native birds. So it's this quintessentially Asian material for these quintessentially California birds.
Right.
And I just felt like it was a kind of full circle connection. And as you mentioned, the birds are made out of this natural material, so it feels like they just grew up out of the garden. And that,
Yes.
to me, is exactly why working with these artists was so appealing.
Yeah, it is very cool that way. And it's really nice to see, the bright colors stick out. And some people might think, oh, those bright colors wouldn't fit in nature. It's like, oh, no, no, no. Those creatures, those birds do actually come with those crazy bright colors.
Mhm.
The Anna's hummingbird has a really bright red head. That is what characterizes the male of the species, is that
Mhm.
iridescent, super bright red. And that's what's fun about nature, is things that you wouldn't expect to be there or to be in that color are there.
Yeah, yeah, it is amazing, and that's how they evolve over time to survive and to both locate food and to also hide from predators. I mean,
Yeah.
animals and plants are just incredible in their natural adaptations. It's amazing. And yeah, and as you mentioned, the color, you almost are like, oh, what's happening there? But there's only a few of the birds that actually have color on them, and it's strategic because the meadowlark has this puffed up yellow chest, and so it needed to have yellow.
Right.
Owls are mostly camouflaged, right? They're
Hmm.
mostly sort of browns and blacks and whites and gray. And so they left them natural. They didn't add any color to the owls. The quail has very little in the
That's
way
right.
of color because they too blend in. But they Anna's hummingbird with its bright kind of pink, like hot pink red head and its green chest, and the cedar waxwings that are on either side of the stage in the amphitheater. They have these beautiful red feathers on their tails. So they added it's a controlled color palette,
Yes.
and it's strategic in its
Yeah.
use. And I think, they're artists, and so they get
Right.
that. And yeah,
Yeah.
they're beautiful sculptures.
I thought that those choices were really, spot on, just to
Hmm.
pick the few things that can pop out and stand out, and really was a good match. So I thought that worked really, really well,
Right.
to have that there. So it was a really good sign. You've also got another program going, Acoustic Sunsets.
Hmm.
Tell our listeners a little bit about Acoustic Sunsets.
Yeah, so we started doing this last summer. What we did is, we have such gorgeous weather here in the summer months, May through October. You just want to be outside as much as you can be. So, and my family and I live in the garden. It's required for the job, and so we were enjoying these spectacular sunsets every night in the garden by ourselves. And I said, I feel like we need to share this with the community. So we decided on Wednesday nights, and we were actually inspired by the Glen Ellen Stars Neighborhood Night. I thought that was such a cute
Mm-hmm.
concept
Yeah.
to keep it very local. And we said, okay, Wednesday nights we're going to do acoustic sunsets, and we started to just think about what that could look like. We did 27 nights last year. We're doing 24 nights this year. And it's just been so well received. We basically invite local musicians and local vintners, and it's free for members and it's included with admission for everyone else. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not an event, it's not a ticketed event. All we're doing is enhancing the visitor experience with live music and local wine. The vintners come and pour for free sips. We allow dogs for the only day of the week that we allow dogs in the garden, or it's Wednesday evenings. And people bring picnics because we don't have food service on site, so you have to bring your own food. And it's been so well received. Like, we've doubled our membership. Our attendance has really grown from it, and people just like it. It's a way for us to break bread with our neighbors, with our community. And I can't tell you, I mean, every night, every Wednesday night, I take a little survey when I make my opening remarks, and I ask everyone for a show of hands, how many of you are here at the garden for the first time? And it is always at least half of the audience that are there, that are here for the first time. And I think that's just a really great way to get new people into the garden, give them different reasons to come, get them here more frequently, have them bring their friends, and then almost always people join by the end of the night. So it's been really fun for us. Great to get to know our local talent, and local businesses that we can partner with in the form of the wineries, and
Yeah.
everyone's just been so receptive to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great way to see the sunset in a location
Mhm.
folks otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to, enjoy from that specific locale with that view over the mountains, over the
I
coastals to see
know.
it. So
It's
it's just,
great.
and during the summer, and it's going to shift. So if you go out now, it'll have a different look and a different feel come October. So you could go
Hmm.
multiple times. But this way, you get a whole new view and perspective on the coastal
Hmm.
hills from where you are looking out over it. You get some great acoustic sounds accompanying the whole thing. Very family
Hmm.
friendly.
Very
Bring
family friendly.
Yeah,
Lots of families, especially while school's out. We get a lot of families that come. It's really fun, very satisfying. And we have an amphitheater, and the amphitheater was built in 2012, I want to say, and it had been used just a couple times for talks.
hmm,
So when I got here, I realized, like, we had this beautiful feature
yeah,
of the
yeah.
garden, and it was really, really underutilized. And so that was what inspired it. So this last year we did some investing in the first quarter. So the winter months, we put in a new staircase and a handrail. We put in lights. We added picnic tables. and just kind of spruced it up a little bit. And it went really far. Now, people are noticing that we've, we've shown that we really want to welcome people to the
Yeah.
garden. And so that little bit of an investment on the part of the garden into improving that space has gone really far. So, yeah, the views are so beautiful, and the amphitheater does a wonderful job of containing the sound. So you can't even hear the music in the parking lot when you drive in. It's incredible. Our neighbors can't hear it. They come to the concerts because they can't hear it from their houses. So they walk over to hear it. It's great.
Well, that's also probably been a good lesson to know that, because that can be an issue for people is, the way sound travels can be a negative for some people. And now it's really contained in there, which is just such a great bonus to find all that stuff out. So, well, how welcoming is all of that? I also noticed in my walks around the Asian garden yesterday, lots of very carefully concealed but lovely picnic tables and finished trails are available. So you can go off the bigger trails that are like, golf cart wide. You can walk off of them onto the designated small side trails and find the picnic tables that are sprinkled throughout the garden. So you can really get kind of, a little bit of privacy there or some extra shade if you're wanting to just kind of stop and meditate or enjoy a meal. So super nice.
Yeah, and for the Winged Wonders show, we kind of use sky blue as our color to unify all the various elements of the exhibition. And so we painted all the picnic tables, and there are 7 that are peppered throughout the garden in these kind of, as you mentioned, tucked away spots. We painted them all sky blue, and then we added whimsical sky blue birdhouses. And then we even added some child-sized picnic tables here and there so that we really want to encourage people to come and stay. And, I think what better experience can you have than, with your family and friends, taking a hike, having a picnic, enjoying time together. Yeah, so that's been good. I think people have enjoyed finding the different picnic tables and spending some time in other parts of the garden.
Yeah. Really loving it. I did see people from all ages who were there, definitely. I saw people walking strollers, so the main trails are wide enough, easy enough, comfortable enough to push strollers with the smallest of family members. There definitely works, and there were couples out strolling and walking together. And seniors making use of some of the benches that are sprinkled throughout the entire park along certain trails, just to sit and have a conversation and enjoy it. So there was a lot of diversity, which was just really great to see. So well done. Well done,
thank
Jeannie.
you. Well, it's a real team effort.
Yeah. So for our listeners who are wondering where to get all of the information, the website's really easy to get to. All you got to do is go to Sonoma BG. That's BG as in Botanic Garden. So SonomaBG.org is the website. They're open daily 10 to 5. And on Wednesdays for acoustic sunsets until 8. So it's a longer time. The address, again, if you don't know it, is 12,841 Highway 12. 12841 Highway 12 in Glen Ellen. Jeannie, a final message before we have to go?
Sure. Come see us. Bring
Boom.
your friends. If you live here in town, I hope you'll become a member. Membership is a great deal. It gets you free access to the garden and most programs year-round, but we're part of a reciprocal program with the American Horticultural Society, so you also get free or reduced rate access to almost 400 gardens around the world. So it's really a great deal. But we think if you live in Sonoma, you should be a member of Sonoma Botanical Garden. That's our hope.
Yeah.
I do also want to mention we are not doing a concert this week on July 2nd. We're giving our staff and volunteers a break for the holiday week. So we hope to see you back at Acoustic Sunsets July 9th, and I hope everyone has a wonderful 4th of July, and I just love our Sonoma 4th of July celebrations.
Yeah.
So,
It's great.
Yeah, hope to see you all in the garden, and come check out the birds.
Yes, come check out the bamboo birds by the Mythmasters. Jeannie Perales from the Sonoma Botanical Garden. Thank you for your time this morning. Really appreciate it.